Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. We are here to review the Opinel Number 12 Carbon. Been a big fan of Opinel since I discovered them about a year ago. I primarily use Opinel for my oysters. They do make an oyster knife, which I have right in front of you right here. And this has been my go-to oyster knife. This is the one that I use to shuck oysters for the family. Clams, oysters, pretty much everything is used with this. As far as having a knife, I do have a couple of Swiss Army knives that I keep on my keychains. I used to have this little guy, nothing crazy. I don't want the big ones because the big ones take up a lot of room. Honestly, like, they're kind of bulky, and if you get stopped at like a security checkpoint, they confiscate them. These little guys, I mean, not so much. I mean, there's always a chance they will take them, but for the most part, I mean, it's a scissor and a little, what is this, 2-inch, 1.5-inch blade. So for the most part, they really don't bother with these, and usually you can kind of sneak them through security. But I recently upgraded to this guy, and this one is very cool. This is a pair of nail clipper Victorinox Swiss Army knife. So this is the one that I use. I take this one camping. It's kind of dirty, but for the most part, this is the guy that we use. Because most of the time you're using your Swiss Army knife for some sort of grooming. The other one that I used to have the have a corkscrew on it, but this one's got everything I could possibly need. It's got the like I said, it's got the nail clipper attachment, which is a really handy one. It's got a knife, and it's also got the file. I don't know if I get, there we go. So you got those three tools. On the back side, I believe this is a scissor, which I've never actually used this scissor because I have the nail clipper. I also have a toothpick, and I have the tweezers. So this is a really, really good knife. It is a little bit thicker, obviously. If you do a side-by-side comparison, it's much, much bigger. But footprint-wise, it's roughly about the same. It's a slightly bigger knife, not terribly bigger. But yeah, this is the one that I keep on my keys. This is on one of my set of car keys. This goes to the truck that we have. And that's my everyday carry one. I also have this one on the other set of keys that I have. And this one is a Leatherman Squirt Ps4. And this little guy is very cool. So you open this guy up, and it opens to a pair of spring-loaded pliers. And then you've also got all the other tools on here. You've got the knife. You've got these guys. I want to say, where is it? You've got the file with, I want to say, like a kind of like a screwdriver, like a flathead screwdriver tip. It's kind of angled right there. You've also got on the other side, looks like it's a micro screwdriver, like a little tiny flathead, maybe even an awl. You've got, you can open it without messing up a nail, a can opener with another flathead screwdriver. Most Phillips heads will be able to be opened with the flatheads, as long as you don't strip out the screw, as long as you're careful. I've got a pair of scissors on this one. Nice mechanism on this as well. Really cool. And the last tool is, I think I showed this one. Yeah, I opened this one already, I want to say. And there you have it. So yeah, this Leatherman Micro, the Squirt Ps4, is really nice. It's, like, these pliers are really, really cool. Very good quality, really nice material. It's like an anodized aluminum on the outside, stainless steel. But that is not why we're here today. Today we are here to look at the Opinel Number 12. This is the big one. This is the biggest knife they make, short of the Number 15, which is a fillet knife. So the Opinel Number 6 is this one that I have with the locking ring. This is just their regular standard handle. I think it's a colored handle. I'm not sure which handle this is, but I don't think it's any type of exotic wood as far as I can tell. It is a blunt blade. It's not sharp at all. And again, this is designed to open oysters. That's all it is. It's a prying knife. You get in, and it's not sharp. It's pointy, but it's definitely not a sharp blade. All right, this blade is not sharp at all on either side. This is a flat 90-degree blade, and this blade is just kind of, comes to an edge, but not a sharp edge, like nothing. Like, I can do this and nothing at all. It's not remotely sharp. It will not cut paper. It will not cut skin. So this is literally just something to get into your oyster and pry with. So this is the number 6. The 6 designates 6 centimeters. What that works out into inches, it's 1 inch for every 2.54 centimeters. About like, what, 3 inches, plus or minus. You guys do the degree of difference. And then this is the Opinel number 12, carbon. So this is a carbon steel blade. They do offer 2 blades. They have the carbon and they have the inox blade. I think the carbon blade is definitely going to be more of a maintenance blade. You will have to take care of this blade. It will rust easily. It can be sharpened. It can be honed quickly. So it will carry a very, very sharp edge. But I'm going to say it's more of like a kitchen knife blade than it is a utility blade. So this is something that you would have to maintain the sharpness, maintain the edge. You'd have to take care of the blade because it will rust very easily if you're not careful. And but I think this is a knife that will really serve a really, really purposeful life. Like, I mean, this is a knife that you would keep for a lifetime. And this is the way it comes. Like, they are very inexpensive. This knife, I think, cost me $24. And a big knife like this is going to run you, with a major brand, at least 50, 60 bucks. You're going to be paying money for it. And, it's all marketing. It's all fancy boxes. It's a fancy leather pouch that comes with it that you never use, So I think that this is a no-frills company. These are all made in France, which is an amazing thing. And this is how they ship them, no fancy boxes. This one came in it looked like a recycled cardboard box. Nothing special, nothing fancy, minimal printing on it. But if you compare the size of these guys, you can see just how big this guy is, And again, this is the number 12. You'll see the locking collar right here. And what'll happen is you'll turn this collar to open. And then to open the blade, you give this a pull. And just look at how massive this knife is. You lock the blade back so that way that this thing doesn't move. It becomes a fixed blade. And just a side-by-side comparison of just how big this thing is, If you compare the blade size, this is the number 3. And this is the number 6, and this is the number 12. So 6 centimeters, 12 centimeters. Theoretically, it should be double the size, which it looks about right. And this is sharp. This is very sharp. I mean, this is definitely sharp enough to, I could probably shave hairs with this thing right now. I have not used it. This is the first time I'm opening it. You can still see there's oil residue on the blade. And a lot of people who tell you before you start using it to kind of just prep it for use. Right now the locking ring, it's humid out, so like the wood expands. It's really untreated birch wood. They tell you to put some mineral oil into the joint, into here, to just kind of loosen everything up and preserve the hinge and keep the material good. But yeah, you can see like it's tight. It's kind of hot out. It's like 90 degrees, but it definitely is a it's definitely a big knife. But the history behind these knives, I mean, the knife maker, I was watching a documentary on YouTube, funny enough, and it showed the guy, and every chance that he gets, I mean, he's old now. I don't know how old the documentary was, but it was definitely a few years old. But he was still at the factory. He was overseeing a lot of stuff and just kind of doing a walkthrough and going through the factory and making sure that, like, the knives were being made according to his standards. So, this is still made in France. Each one is still, manufactured. It's manufactured through machinery, but each step has, a human intervention, someone that looks at everything, that, goes through them. They're not a super mass-produced product. And they're inexpensive, which is a phenomenal thing. You know, it's a small business and they're inexpensive and they're surviving in today's world. And there's something to be said about that. You know, you want to buy and support these companies. You know, would I like the new, you know, a new Gerber $150 knife? Absolutely. Do I need one? No. $24 versus $150. You know, this is definitely going to give me just as much enjoyment using something like this that's that's been crafted throughout the years and, back in the day was probably handmade versus something that was, mass produced and made by a bigger company that, put a lot of research into it. And this is it. Just a blade, nothing else, nothing fancy. I have a fairly big hand and, even in my hand, if I'm holding it like this. I'd be like whittling something. You can see just how big this handle is. This handle is massive. So, and if you compare this to the size of, let's say, one of these guys, one of these guys, or one of these guys, I mean, you can just see just how big this knife really is. I'm going to say this is about at least 5 of these knives. So you just get an idea of, how big this knife really is. It's it's definitely not a tiny knife. It is pocket sized. I will tell you it's going to be quite large in your pocket. It's about, 8-9 inches closed, maybe 7 inches, give or take. Anyway, either way, it's still quite large. So, I would definitely recommend a knife like this. This is something you would want to keep in like your camping equipment. This is going to go in my mess kit or my kitchen box. I have a one of those giant, what do you call those? Like the Rubbermaid containers, the big ones, that has all our kitchen equipment in it, like the Coleman stove and a couple of other things like the butane torches and stuff like that. I'm gonna probably put this guy in there and leave it with the kitchen stuff. So when we go camping, I have a dedicated blade for kitchen prep, and for making marshmallow sticks and hot dog roasting sticks and the like. So I can't stress enough to support your local small business, whether it's a local French small business or it's your neighborhood knife maker, which there are lots of them. There are definitely small outfits that still produce knives and high quality products and stuff like that. But I can't stress enough about how simplistic but yet how satisfying it is to have such a nice knife that is relatively inexpensive for $24. Again, I mean, what can you really buy nowadays for 24 bucks? I spent double that on lunch today for the kids. So it just really, it's definitely something that you have to consciously make that effort to support these businesses and really pick up these tools and make them last. Keep these businesses around and be a supporter of the movement. So with that, I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, let me know. I will probably post another video shortly when we do go camping demonstrating this knife. If you enjoyed the video, if you have any questions, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.